So the verdict for George Zimmerman is not guilty, and I really can't figure out why. I mean, it seems like it's plain as day. Even for second degree, where you have to have um ill intentions or a depraved mind. I mean, how can you not see that? I mean, simply when he did the interview about it over a year ago, where they asked him, "Do you have any, regrets about that night, or would you change anything?" And he said, "No, you know, it's God's plan." And it just struck me as how how can you say something like that, you know, when you have free will? And I mean, how can you not feel any type of remorse for your actions? You know, and it just makes me think that if if you don't have any remorse, then you meant to do it. A dead person means nothing to you, and I like to just go back, go back to why I think he should have been convicted, if not second degree murder, definitely manslaughter. Okay, you know, he was already ill about there being break-ins in his neighborhood. Okay. On the phone with the dispatcher, he says, "These fucking assholes always get away." Okay. Granted, if these fucking assholes always get away, and you hop out of your vehicle with a loaded weapon, it's basically you saying these assholes always get away, but not tonight. And I mean, it should have. He's 29 years old. You know, it has to come to a point where you do logical thinking and you say, just because one person with these features does this certain thing doesn't apply to everybody who bears resemblance to that person who did this thing, as far as what they say is the burglarizing of houses. So if you're in the neighborhood watch, I think that it's your duty to get a feel of who stays in your neighborhood, get a feel of their family, familiarize yourself with it, and also familiarize yourself with, their extended family. Ask them if they will have people who don't live in the neighborhood coming to the neighborhood that will be visiting them. So if your job is, if you take it upon yourself to protect the neighborhood, you should protect the neighborhood and its inhabitants and their family members. So I think that's a bunch of bull. I mean, if he didn't have ill will, why not stay in your vehicle, ride up on Trayvon Martin alongside him, roll your window down, announce yourself, say, "Hey, I'm the neighborhood watch. I haven't seen you around here. Are you visiting anyone?" That's all he had to do. So for them to say, no, he's not guilty, Trayvon Martin started it, it's kind of crazy. So if he really wanted to protect the neighborhood, he could be carrying, he shouldn't have got out of his car, but he could have got out of his car with mace, taser, pepper spray, something like that. It's kind of funny that, he got out of his car with just a loaded gun. He didn't even have handcuffs. So that shows you that he wasn't trying to detain anyone. He meant to murder. That's ill will to me. You know, so he says Trayvon Martin looks like he's on drugs. He looks like a shady character. First of all, it's raining. So what do you expect? You expect him to be outside in a t-shirt walking home? That's preposterous. You know, of course I'm gonna wear a hoodie on walking home in the rain. You know, most teenagers, I don't care if you're black, white, or Hispanic, you walking home, you're probably gonna have some earbuds. You're probably gonna be listening to music. He said George Zimmerman said he was looking, swiftly in different directions. Okay, if I'm walking down the street listening to a song that I'm into, I'll be like, if I'm in a neighborhood, I'm not used to, I'm gonna look around and sightsee. Of course, that doesn't mean I'm high. And if I am high, I'm probably gonna be mellow. So that's kind of crazy to me. But yeah, just let's just go through his story. So he says this cat looks shady, so I call 911 and I'm gonna get out of the car and I'm gonna follow him. Okay, you get out of the car with a loaded weapon. You could have left your weapon in the car, but you get out of the car with a loaded weapon, pursue this teenager, you know, and when you get out of the car, you should have announced yourself, but you didn't. You followed him, and then you let him strike you first, so that you could claim self-defense. And you were hoping that someone seen him strike you first, you know, and that could not have been him on the 911 tape yelling for help, for the simple fact that he says, "Oh, Trayvon was banging my head uh, on the cement multiple times." Okay, if you're yelling for help while he's banging your head on the cement multiple times, then the help will be consistent. There will not be breaks between you yelling for help. Then you say, "Oh, he had hit both of one hand on my mouth and another hand on my nose," and okay, if then it seems that you will be trying to move that off. So if he's which one is it? Is he banging your head on the pavement numerous times, or does he have his hands over your mouth? You know, and you're pushing his hands back to scream for help, because I can see help, help, help. But the funny thing is, the last help that was screamed out ends right at the gunshot. Right where the gunshot goes, pow. He's not yelling help. So how do you go from help, help, pow? It makes no sense now, does it? I can't understand that, you know. And if you fear for your life, doesn't it make sense that you would be fighting for your life? I mean, there was no bruises on Trayvon's body, and there was no DNA up under Zimmerman's fingertips. If I'm fighting for my life, I'm gonna be grabbing your wrist, grabbing your neck, or maybe even trying to, put my fingers in your eye or something like that to kind of restrain you or get you off of me. There was no bruises. So apparently he wasn't fighting for his life, And he says, I was getting my head banged on the cement. I was kind of, confused. But if you're conscious enough to scream for help and pull out a pistol and aim for this kid's heart, I think you very well knew what you were doing. And it's crazy that not most Americans, but a lot of Americans still can't see that. You know, it's plain as day. And it's sad, in the country we live in, as, um, some of the greatest thinkers, that you can't put this together when it's common sense. So, and it just hurts the fact that, that kid was a good kid, and they tried to criminalize him, do everything that they can to make him seem like a horrible human being. And that's not what it was. As a young African American man, I know what it's like to be followed and looked at and watched when you go places. Walking into a grocery store, immediately all eyes are on you. You know, um, being followed by security guards. Just walking around somewhere that's maybe not predominantly black, and people looking at you like you're about to commit a crime. It's messed up that we have to walk around and already presume guilty when we've done nothing. I used to work at a grocery store, and I would see security guards following young African American men around, who just came, like, hang out, say hey to the people who work there, and never stole. But then you would have, on the next aisle, you would have somebody of European descent, a Caucasian American, and they would be stealing, but they get looked over. And I mean, I think it's a real wake up call. I mean, this has been on my mind all day. I can't get it off, for the simple fact, what if it wasn't Trayvon Martin? What if it was me? You know, I don't smoke. I don't drink. Um, you know, I graduated, college with honors. So, what if it was me, on that night walking down the street in my hoodie, and for them to say not guilty, it just makes me feel like in America, does a black life have any worth? Because it seems like it doesn't. To say George Zimmerman is not guilty is to say Trayvon is guilty of being somewhere that he had every right to be. You're saying that Trayvon was guilty for defending himself. If I'm out late at night and somebody's following me, then of course I'm gonna be on the defensive. Of course I'm gonna be a little paranoid. I don't know who you are. You might have a gun, which he did. You might be trying to kidnap me, do something to me or bring me harm. So of course I'm gonna be defensive, and of course I'm not gonna take you to where I stay. It might be people in my house. I might have a younger brother, a younger sister, a daughter, a son, or something like that. A grandmother who can't take care of a kid. I'm not about to let you come to my house so you might do heinous acts to me and my family. No, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of being treated like I'm guilty. You know what? I'm going to stand here and I'm going to stand up for myself. And just because I got the best of you, which I don't believe Von Martin did, because George Zimmerman knows how to handle himself. You saw the videos. He was fit. He was taking MMA classes. He wanted to be law enforcement. You know, he was a vigilante. And I think it's sad that it's been decades since the civil rights movements, and it's like we've made no progress. The same thing was going on when my grandfather was, my age, and it hurts. You know, back then, uh, with the Ku Klux Klan, and even before the civil rights, we have a long history of that in America. African American people, get beat and try to defend themselves and get murdered. Nobody says a word. They sweep it under the rug. Marco, whatever is O'Mara, whoever the dude is, he said, would we be here if George Zimmerman was black? And I think a lot of people were taking it as him saying, if the roles were reversed. But what he was saying was, would we still be here if these were two black guys? And the answer is probably no. Because you know why? America has this thing where, they can't make us slaves. And, we're too smart. Where we're not just going to fall for anything anymore. So they want us to get rid of ourselves. So they really don't care if we kill ourselves. But you know what? That's a different topic for another time. We're gonna focus on this one. It's sad that this event did happen. It's sad that this guy was not given justice. Like he said, like Trayvon, the prosecutors said, to the living we owe respect, to the dead we owe the truth. And I think that is sad that even though everybody knows the truth wasn't used in bringing Trayvon Martin's justice. And I think it's just a sad situation, man. I think it just is a testament that America really doesn't care about black people, especially young black men. You know, I can't fathom having a child and telling him or her, you need to watch the way you dress because just the way you look, people are going to be threatened by you, and that's going to give them, they have every right to do harm to you by the way you look. That's not right, and no father, no mother should ever have to tell their child that. you know I'm surprised that those jurors didn't really look inside their hearts. you know Maybe they're scared of the truth, that maybe they just want to say, hey, racism doesn't exist, but it does. And this whole case just it made me sick, man. This, even if, let's not look at race for a second. A grown man murdered a young teen. George Zimmerman had domestic violence. He had that altercation with a cop. he made his mistakes. He has a violent history. He's made his mistakes, and he hasn't had to pay for anything. And then he's getting to walk away scot free from this. That's tomfoolery. That's foolishness, man. Trayvon Martin wasn't even finished with high school. So what if he smoked a little weed? When you're in high school, you're going to experiment. We can act like, no, no, I never did that, but at some point in time in your life, you are going to experiment, because you're curious. You have a curious mind. You're going to drink a little bit. You're going to have sex. You're going to do things. And George Zimmerman had all these chances to do these things and not have to suffer the consequences for any of them. And I think that's ridiculous. Trayvon Martin did not have a chance to, um, you know, if he wanted to go a different route, he couldn't. He doesn't have a chance to chase his dreams. That was taken from him by George Zimmerman. And I think that the jury should have said, okay, you took his life. Well, we're gonna take the remainder of yours and put you in jail for a crime you committed. You know, it's just very disheartening. You know, I'm just starting to feel like we will never be able to find justice. We will never have justice for African Americans in America. And I mean, it really does make sense when they were writing the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. You know, black people were slaves. They never considered us humans. Even though we walked and talked just like they did, they never saw us as equal. And that's so many years later, centuries later, it's like they still don't see us as people. They still don't see us as equal. So I mean, it is what it is, man. Like I said, my heart goes out to the Martin family. And all the victims of senseless crimes like this. I don't I don't believe in violence, and but I do believe you have a right to stand up for yourself. I'm not saying stand your ground. I'm saying stand up for yourself like Trayvon Martin did. And I think like to let people like George Zimmerman, who obviously have used obviously stereotype people to walk away and say, hey, it's okay to stereotype people and murder them. I think that's ridiculous. You know, but hopefully, we can have a conversation about these things and not just sweep it under the rug or not just, forget about it. Of course, there's been situations like Trayvon Martin in the past. Look at Emmett Till. Look at the woman who, had an abusive husband and shot shots in the air. You know, um, and is doing 20 years. Look at the guy who stole some meat and is doing 50 years. Look at the lady who was sending her kids to a different school out of her district because it was a better school and was using her father's address. Who was trying to become a teacher. They charged her with a felony. Look at Michael Vick. Um, you know, all these other people. Look at the people. The the burning of the church that killed those 4 little girls in Alabama. Those guys, they knew who did it, but they were never tried, or they were tried and found innocent. It's just ridiculousness, man. You know, I think it's really time that we take it upon ourselves as a younger generation and realize the fact that we do need black leaders. We do need people to step up. You can post stuff on Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr all day, but till you really take action, you're not really doing nothing. So I hope this situation, can help us make the transition from being rebellious to becoming revolutionary and doing things that will have a greater effect and a positive effect for our generations to come. You know, but I know I'm running a little bit long. I just got a lot on my mind. probably be doing a couple more videos, and I probably might run back over this some topics I discussed in this video, man. But I just need to free my mind. It's been on my mind all day, man. So yeah, this is your kid, ventilated mind. You know, you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Tumblr. You know, my Tumblr is unorchestrated thoughts. You know, so um, peace and many blessings to you guys. Peace.